There was a moment not long ago when the tennis world whispered something unthinkable. Has Carlos Alcaraz already been figured out, match by match? You could feel it. He wasn't gliding, he was forcing it. He wasn't dominating, he was surviving. And when rivals like Novak Djokovic, Jannik Sinner, and even Zverev started exposing the same patterns, the questions got louder. The kid who ran through the sport at 19 suddenly looked human. But here's the twist. Carlos didn't crumble. He rebuilt, quietly, patiently, scientifically. And what came out the other side wasn't the Alcaraz we knew. It was Alcaraz 2.0. Smarter, stronger, colder, and more complete than ever. Before we jump in, don't forget to subscribe to The Final Set, where we break down the stories that shaped today's tennis, the prodigy. To understand evolution, you have to remember how insane the beginning was. Carlos Alcaraz didn't ease into tennis, he erupted. By 18, he was beating top 10 players. By 19, he was the youngest world #1 in ATP history. Here's a cleaner, more grounded, more human rewrite. No hypey cliches, no big three copy-paste energy, but still punchy and YouTube-friendly. And it wasn't just that he was winning, it was the way he played. Fast, fearless, unpredictable. You never knew if the next point would be a 100-mile-per-hour forehand, a drop shot from nowhere, or a sliding passing shot that made the crowd gasp. Very quickly, people started asking the big questions. Is this the next great one? Not because he looked like Nadal or Federer or Djokovic, but because he didn't look like anyone. He had his own style, his own electricity, and it hit the tour like a shockwave. And with that kind of rise, expectations exploded. If a teenager could do all this, what happens when he actually grows up? But here's what almost no one tells you. The climb is the easy part. At some point, every young star hits the moment where the sport pushes back, hard, and Alcaraz hit that wall at full speed. The cracks start to show. It wasn't just the losses, it was how he lost. Against Djokovic, he got out-thought point after point. Novak neutralized his explosiveness with depth, patience, and suffocation. Alcaraz would go for highlight shots, and Djokovic would just absorb them. Against Sinner, the story was different, but equally brutal. Jannik's pace, accuracy, and low backhand trajectory forced Carlos into rushed, awkward positions. Rallies that Alcaraz used to dictate were suddenly controlled by someone else. Against Zverev, the serve became a problem. Carlos couldn't find free points, while Zverev hammered down unreturnables. Patterns emerged, overusing the drop shot, pulling the trigger too early, getting impatient in long exchanges, a first serve that disappeared under pressure, emotional dips mid-match. There were moments when his fitness looked off. He wasn't being beaten by luck. He was being outplayed. This was the first real test of his career. Not the rise, but the resistance. The panic moment. Fans felt it first, then commentators, then the tennis world at large. Alcaraz suddenly wasn't dominating tournaments. He looked uncomfortable in tight sets. He overhit. He tightened. He rushed points he normally built beautifully. The word slump started floating around. And for a kid who had been unstoppable since he was 16, this was unfamiliar territory. Then came the injuries, muscle strains, withdrawals, physical question marks. And the whispers turned into headlines. Has the tour solved Alcaraz? Was his early success unsustainable? Is Sinner overtaking him? This wasn't a collapse, but it was a reality check. Carlos couldn't bulldoze everyone forever. Tennis was catching up, and the sport was asking him a question that every great player eventually hears. What will you become when talent isn't enough? And that question pushed him toward an answer that changed everything. The turning point inside Carlos's team. Juan Carlos Ferrero wasn't freaking out. He wasn't pacing around or looking for magic fixes. He just said, all right, now we get to work. Behind the scenes, they went through everything that wasn't clicking. His points got messy too fast. His serve patterns became easy to read. He used the drop shot like a nervous habit. His defense needed better resets. His emotions swung too quickly. His recovery between matches needed structure. Ferrero kept the message simple. You already have the weapons. Now we learn how to use them properly. So Carlos started training differently. Not harder, smarter. Watching opponents, figuring out when to speed up and when to slow down. Learning that aggression is great until it becomes panic. Understanding that sometimes the best shot is the one you don't hit. And then came the real upgrade, the mindset. Carlos even said it himself. I need to grow up in this sport. That was the moment everything changed. That's the start of Alcaraz 2.0. Not because he added a new shot, but because he added a new brain behind it. Alcaraz 2.0, the evolution. The upgrade wasn't loud, it wasn't flashy, it was precise. More body serves, more slice out wide, higher first serve percentage, picking serve targets based on score. Not habit, standing deeper for big servers, stepping in against second serves. Targeting corners instead of middle resets. This is where the magic changed. Old Carlos tried to end points early. New Carlos extends rallies to control them. More high, heavy forehands, more patience in neutral rallies, fewer random missiles down the line. Once a party trick, now a weapon with timing. Used to break rhythm, especially against players who thrive on pace, like a certain Italian we'll get to shortly. Selective, purposeful, not chaotic. Choosing the right approach shot instead of charging blindly. Alcaraz didn't change who he was. He learned when to unleash his chaos, and that made him deadly. The new tools in action. Let's break down a few examples where Alcaraz 2.0 shows up. Against Medvedev, Medvedev loves depth and repetition. Old Carlos tried to blast through him. New Carlos used height, slice, and angles, forcing Medvedev to move forward his least comfortable direction. Against Zverev, he targeted Zverev's forehand corner with heavy topspin, dragging him wide instead of attacking his backhand directly. More inside-out forehands, more patience, less panic. Against Djokovic, he stopped sprinting to the net on speculative balls. He chose bigger serves at 30-all. He didn't give Novak rhythm, which is the only way to beat Novak. These weren't random improvements. They were manual updates to a game that was already elite. Alcaraz 2.0 isn't a new player, he's the same player, but upgraded with calculation and maturity. The champion mindset. This might be the biggest upgrade of all. Carlos learned to slow down the storm inside his own head. New routines between points, better emotional resets, smoother breathing patterns, walking away from the baseline when he feels the rush coming. He no longer needs the highlight shot to feel alive. He doesn't panic when rallies go long. He accepts neutral positions instead of forcing magic. And the strange thing? When he stopped needing explosiveness, his explosiveness actually became more dangerous. Pressure moments that once made him tighten now bring out clarity. Break points feel like opportunities instead of threats. This is the part fans overlook. Alcaraz 2.0 isn't just hitting better balls. He's thinking clearer thoughts, the rival that forced the upgrade. Every great transformation needs a rival. Federer had Nadal, Djokovic had both, and Alcaraz has Jannik Sinner. Their matches aren't just battles, they're blueprints of the future of tennis. Sinner's weapons are brutal. Laser-flat ground strokes, insane depth, serve accuracy, relentless inside-out forehand pressure, physical durability. At his best, Sinner makes Carlos uncomfortable in ways no one else can. He takes away time. He pins Alcaraz behind the baseline. He forces Carlos into rushed forehands and mistimed drop shots. For a while, Sinner was the one player who could systematically dismantle Alcaraz. Hard court especially was Sinner territory. But Alcaraz 2.0 changed the script. How he countered Sinner's dominance. Standing deeper on returns to neutralize pace. Using the slice to break Jannik's rhythm, rallying with more height and margin, attacking Sinner's second serve early, choosing the right moments to transition forward, dragging Sinner into uncomfortable angles, extending rallies instead of forcing them. Their 2025 battles proved something important. The gap between them isn't about talent, it's about who adapts faster. And in the biggest moments, Alcaraz 2.0 showed that Sinner doesn't just challenge him, he sharpens him. This rivalry will define the next decade. And Alcaraz's evolution is the direct result of Sinner pushing him to uncomfortable places. Why Alcaraz 2.0 is different. He's smarter, he's more stable, he's more dangerous in long matches. His serve isn't a liability anymore. His baseline patience is elite. His defense has shot tolerance. His offense has strategy. His mind has maturity. But most importantly, he can now win matches even when he isn't playing his best. That's the difference between hype and greatness, between a prodigy and a champion, between Alcaraz and Alcaraz 2.0. Carlos Alcaraz didn't just bounce back. He reinvented himself while the world was watching. And the scary part? He's still only in his early 20s. The ceiling hasn't even been scratched. As long as Sinner keeps pushing him, as long as Djokovic keeps setting the bar, as long as the tour keeps evolving, Alcaraz 2.0 will only keep upgrading. And if this is the version we're seeing now, imagine what 3.0 looks like. If you love this breakdown, make sure to subscribe to The Final Set, the home of tennis storytelling, tactical insights, and the biggest narratives shaping the sport. This is The Final Set. We'll see you in the next one.